So you should know that till now I have been fast forwarding the story to just come to this point to help you understand the situation of India, what she was under, who was ruling her, what kind of atrocities must be going on with the people of India. By the time 17th century has arrived, you now have a clear picture, right? Now I will be able to enter into the detailed stories because now the Maratha Empire angle begins. It all begins with the story of Shahji Raje Bhosle. And do you know how Shahji Raje Bhosle is connected with the entire story series that we are planning on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj? Namaste. Welcome to another episode in the series of videos that I have planned to explain to you this glorious story of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Now, as committed in the previous episode, in this one we will be zooming in and trying to understand the story of Shahji Raje Bhosle. Now, this story is quite complicated, but you need to know exactly what was happening in his life so that you try to understand the circumstances in which Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was born. As all of you by now know, Shahji Raje Bhosle is the father of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So let's dive deep into his story. Shahji Raje Bhosle, or as I might call him as Shahji now in this entire episode, was born on the 16th of March 1599. His father, Maloji Bhosle, was already a general in the Nizamshahi camp. He was already in the service of Nizamshahi. In fact, Maloji Bhosle's father, that is Shahji's grandfather, was also in the Nizamshahi service. So it's natural for Shahji to also join the Nizamshahi service. That's how he landed there. However, when Shahji was just a child, his father, Maloji Bhosle, dies in a battle representing the Nizamshahi. And on this, Nizamshahi decides to allocate the territory or the Jagir which was belonging, or I might say which was being ruled by Maloji Bhosle, to his son Shahji Bhosle. So Shahji Bhosle inherits the territory or the Jagir which his father Maloji Bhosle was ruling on the behalf of Nizamshahi on the death of Maloji Bhosle. And you know what this area was? Which territory this was? It was the area around, I might say in and around Pune Jagir. This particular area and the surrounding territories was handed over to Shahji by the Nizamshahi. So now Shahji takes control of this entire territory, but he's still a child. As he grows, he starts taking responsibility, he starts learning about administration, about warfare, and eventually he starts becoming distinguished as a very competent administrator and even a very powerful military warrior. By the time he reaches the age of around 14 or 15, he gets married to this wonderful girl, Jijabai, who is the daughter of another Maratha warrior, Lakhuji Jadhav Rao. Lakhuji Jadhav Rao was also another Maratha warrior in the service of the Nizamshah. And this Lakhuji Rao's daughter, Jijabai, gets married to Shahji. So this is all happening under the complete umbrella of the Nizamshahi. So Maloji Bhosle was under Nizamshahi, his son Shahji is under Nizamshahi. Shahji marries Jijamata or Jijabai, who is the daughter of Lakhuji Rao Jadhav, who is also another military warrior within Nizamshahi. And the story continues. Shahji starts becoming more and more powerful and influential within the Nizamshahi, but this does not go well with the people already in power in the Nizamshahi. And do you remember who was the one person who was controlling the affairs of the Nizamshahi? Malik Ambar, the Ethiopian slave. As Shahji rose to power within the Nizamshahi, they started having disagreements with each other. Shahji and Malik Ambar were no longer on good terms. And due to this, Shahji Bhosle quits the Nizamshahi and joins the Adilshahi. Yes, and Adilshahi, the Sultan who was ruling Adilshah at that time, his name Ibrahim Adilshah, welcomes Shahji with open arms, gives him red carpet welcome. In fact, it is well documented that when Shahji entered into the Adilshahi service, Adilshah is ruling from Bijapur, Karnataka, I hope you remember. Adilshah confers upon him this title, Sir Lashkar. Sar Lashkar is a Persian term which means leader of an army. That was what Shahji Bhosle was honored with. So Shahji now enters into the Adilshah service. Now one thing you should know, that Shahji was a military warrior par excellence. He was well known both in the Nizamshahi as well as in the Adilshahi. In fact, he was well known even in the Mughal Empire, because Shahji had fought countless battles on the behalf of Nizamshahi against the Mughals, against the Adilshahi. So he was already well respected. He was known to be a military warrior, a person who should be taken with caution, who should be given respect. And therefore, when Adilshahi welcomed him, they were more than happy. Shahji Raje does one very intelligent thing. The Pargana or the Jagir or the Mukasa or the territory of Pune and the surrounding areas which he was ruling on the behalf of Nizamshahi, he does not give it back to the Nizamshahi and now tells Adilshahi that I will continue ruling this particular territory. I am not giving it to the Nizamshahi back. Now this of course made Nizamshahi very angry that you are leaving, please leave, but this territory belongs to us. This is Maharashtra, Pune and the surrounding areas. Nizamshahi was in power in Maharashtra, but Shahji Raje refuses to hand over. However, in due course of time, the Nizamshahi exerts its full power and wrests control of the Pune area and snatches it from Shahji. So Shahji now is in complete service of Adilshahi in Karnataka. Now I'll tell you one fun fact. A letter of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj which he himself had written was found. This letter was dated the year 1677, and in this particular letter, Shivaji Maharaj writes to one of his fellow mates. I'll read the letter for you. Previously, my father had left Nizamshah's service and joined the Adilshah. Ibrahim Adilshah had entrusted him with the responsibility of looking after the affairs of the Sultanate. Which Sultanate? Of course, the Adilshahi Sultanate. My father contemplated utilizing his influence to raise his own Maratha community to positions of authority in the kingdom. So Shivaji Maharaj is telling this to someone that, you know what, when Shahji was given this responsibility by Adilshahi, what was Shahji doing? In order to promote the Maratha community, he was slowly using his power and influence to bring Marathi people or the Maratha population, bring them up to positions of power and give them responsibilities to manage the Sultanate. So, I'll again read this line. My father contemplated utilizing his influence to raise his own Maratha community to positions of authority in the kingdom. With this in mind, he had taken your father Baji Ghorpade, who was a mere Sardar to the Adil Shah's court, and made him a Wazir of the Adilshahi kingdom. So I would like to tell you one thing, that this particular letter Shivaji Maharaj had written to a person named Maloji Ghorpade, and Maloji Ghorpade's father, that is Baji Ghorpade, Shivaji Maharaj is telling Maloji Ghorpade that your father Baji Ghorpade was just a mere Sardar, but it was my father Shahji who, just with an intention to raise the Maratha community, had put your father in a position of power. He had put him in the position of a Wazir in the Adilshahi Sultanate. Fascinating, right? Now going back to the story. I'll take you to the year 1627. Ibrahim Adil Shah, the Sultan, dies in the year 1627. The precise date, 11th September 1627. Ibrahim Adil Shah dies. Now one very weird incident happens in the Adilshahi Empire. I want to share this with you. It's fascinating. What happened was, Ibrahim Adil Shah, the Sultan, before he died, he had expressed his desire that he wants his third son, that is Muhammad Adil Shah, to be the next Sultan of the Adil Shah Empire once he dies. So once Ibrahim Adil Shah dies, he expressed his desire that once I die, I want my third son, that is Muhammad Adil Shah, to be the next Sultan. However, his first son, the name Darvesh Adil Shah, was also in line, right? Because he was the eldest son. So naturally, he was supposed to take over. But Ibrahim Adil Shah had other plans. Now, this heart's desire of Ibrahim Adil Shah, he confides to two of his very special loyalists, Mirza Muhammad Amin and Daulat Khan. These two loyalists of Ibrahim Adil Shah, they come to know of Ibrahim Adil Shah's heart's desire, and they commit to him that come what may, sir, or I might say Sultan, the moment you pass away, we will ensure that your third son Muhammad will become the next Sultan. And yes, as soon as Ibrahim Adilshah dies, do you know what these two, Mirza Muhammad Amin and Daulat Khan, do? They first of all imprison Darwish Adilshah, who is the first, or I might say the eldest son of Ibrahim Adilshah. And along with Darwish, they imprison all other brothers who are supposed to be contenders to the throne. All of them are imprisoned except Muhammad Adilshah. And do you know what these two loyalists do to all these sons of Ibrahim Adilshah? They ensure that these brothers are disqualified from sitting on the throne. And how do they ensure that? Darwish's eyes were plucked out. He was rendered blind. The other brothers, their fingers were cut out. Now they can't rule. So the only possible contender to the throne who is eligible to sit on the throne of the Adilshah is this young boy, Muhammad Adilshah, who at that time was just 15 years old. And he becomes the new Sultan of the Adilshah Empire. He becomes so pleased with Mirza Muhammad Amin and Daulat Khan that he awards them new names granted by the Sultan. Mirza Muhammad Amin becomes Mustafa Khan and Daulat Khan becomes Khawas Khan. Now remember these names. They are all going to eventually come up in this entire storyline. So I'll again repeat. Mirza Muhammad Amin becomes Mustafa Khan and Daulat Khan becomes Khawas Khan. So Mustafa Khan and Khawas Khan, these two loyalists continue in the service of Adilshah. But as you will see in the story ahead, they eventually become sworn enemies of each other. Moving on. As all of this was happening in the Adilshahi, do you know what Shahji was doing? He attacks the Pune region again to take back the control of that particular property because he was very much attached to Pune and the surrounding areas within Maharashtra, which the Nizamshahi had forcefully taken from him. He now, through the Adilshahi Empire, takes control of Pune area again. He defeats the Nizamshahi there and takes back Pune under his control, but now under the Adilshahi umbrella. However, now comes another twist. This young boy, Muhammad Adilshah, as he was growing in power, in age, in stature within the Adilshahi Sultanate, it has been recorded that there were various instances where Shahji felt insulted because of this particular Sultan. Shahji had very good relations with Ibrahim Adilshah, but his son Muhammad Adilshah did not have much respect for Shahji. And sensing this continuous disrespect that was meted out to him, Shahji decides to quit Adilshah and go back to Nizamshah. So this is a lot of turmoil happening in one person's life. He was already in Nizamshah, then he comes to Adilshah. Now he is again back to Nizamshah. But now he is back to Nizamshah in more favorable circumstances because by the time Shahji goes back, Malik Ambar is already dead. So Shahji, now in a very, very peaceful and positive and welcoming and cooperative circumstance within Adilshah, enters back. Pune, which was controlled by Shahji, now goes back to the Nizamshah. Shahji's first son, named Sambhaji. Now yes, Sambhaji is the name of Shivaji's son also, but the first son of Shahji is also named Sambhaji, which means Shivaji's elder brother was Sambhaji and Shivaji's son's name is also Sambhaji. So this Sambhaji, who is the eldest son of Shahji, gets married around this time, and the fort in which he gets married is in this beautiful place called Junnar, and the fort's name Shivneri, a very, very special fort. You will understand in the stories to come. Now let's focus our attention back to the north. In the north, Shah Jahan was ruling as the Mughal Sultan, the Mughal Emperor, the entirety of India practically. South India of course was there with these Islamic sultanates like Adilshah, Qutub Shah and Nizamshah, but practically everything else was controlled by the Mughals. Now you need to know one angle here. Shah Jahan's father Jahangir died in the year 1627, and then his son Shah Jahan became the emperor. He sat on the throne. Now during the transition phase where Jahangir dies and Shah Jahan takes over, that transition phase was slightly chaotic for this huge Mughal empire because Shah Jahan was not ready. He of course became a very powerful sultan eventually, but there were few years where the Mughal Sultanate fell into little bit of chaos. I want to now highlight one incident that happened in the Deccan, that is the Deccan, the Maharashtra area. Mughals were having their territories in Maharashtra also. They used to call it as the Deccan territory of the Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire had assigned one Afghan warrior named Khan Jahan Lodhi as the Subedar of the entire Deccan province of the Mughal Sultanate. So whatever Deccan provinces within Maharashtra basically which were being controlled by the Mughals, to handle this area, to administer this area, to govern this area, to rule that area, one Afghan Subedar, Khan Jahan Lodhi, was established. But as the chaos was taking place in the center, Khan Jahan Lodhi starts getting ambitious and he rebels. And do you know what he does? The entire Mughal territory within Maharashtra, the Deccan area, he hands that over to Nizamshah and then independently marches into Madhya Pradesh, Indore area to start capturing area for himself. He wanted to become a sultan in himself. This Khan Jahan Lodhi, who was just an Afghan Subedar. Nizamshahi of course supports him because they are now getting more territory within Maharashtra, and that too Mughal territory. They welcome the territories with open arms and start governing those territories also. However, once Shah Jahan establishes and settles down on the Mughal throne, he realizes what has happened and he becomes furious. He starts consolidating his power, and due to that, Khan Jahan Lodhi, who is now trying to act smart, is suddenly feeling isolated. He is getting help from nowhere. All the kings which he thought would help him suddenly one by one start withdrawing in the fear of Shah Jahan. So Khan Jahan Lodhi understands that his time is up. So what he does? Shamelessly writes a letter to Shah Jahan begging forgiveness, begging pardon. He begs for mercy, and Shah Jahan forgives him, and he says, I forgive your life on only one condition. You take back the territories you handed over to the Nizamshahi. Those Maharashtrian territories, take it back. Khan Jahan Lodhi says, yes, I will do it. He goes back to the Nizamshah and tells them, please hand over the territories. Nizamshah tells him to get lost. Khan Jahan Lodhi now is in a complete soup. He's kicked out from his position. He is running for his life now. And instead of him, Shah Jahan establishes a very powerful Mughal warrior, Mahabat Khan, as the Subedar of Deccan. And Mahabat Khan's son, Khan Zaman, starts acting as his deputy. So now Mahabat Khan and his son Khan Zaman become the rulers or the Subedars of the Mughal Deccan territories. Mahabat Khan and his son are extremely loyal to Shah Jahan. They are not like this Khan Jahan Lodhi who would rebel in times of crisis. Now Mahabat Khan was a ruthless and a very powerful Mughal warrior. His son Khan Zaman was more ruthless. So together they start consolidating and taking the Deccan territories within the control of the Mughal Empire. After establishing Mahabat Khan, Shah Jahan, the emperor, writes one letter to the Nizamshah and orders the Nizamshah immediately vacate the land that Khan Jahan Lodhi has given to you. These were Mughal properties, these were Mughal territories. You have taken them by cheating. Please hand them back to the Mughal Empire. And you know what Nizamshah writes back? Please take them. The entire property, the entire land parcel which was taken over by the Nizamshah in one letter of Shah Jahan is handed back to the Mughals. However, the Nizamshahi writes back saying that the entire property is yours, take it back. However, there is one fort in this place called Beed in Maharashtra. The commander of that fort is acting very naughty. He's playing mischief. He is not giving the fort back. So if you want, you can just take it back by force. We are not going to interfere. You take it back. We have no problem. You can ask your Deccan Subedars to arrange an army and attack that fort. So Shah Jahan orders Mahabat Khan to go and take that fort also in Beed. Mahabat Khan sends his son Khan Zaman with an army to take over that fort in Beed. And when Khan Zaman reaches that fort, he suddenly finds that there was absolutely no nuisance going on there. The commander was not at all playing dirty. The commander said, this fort is yours only, I have no problem. So Khan Zaman feels, why did the Nizamshah then tell the emperor that there was some problem happening with this fort in surrendering? Without a fight, the fort comes back into the Mughal grip. But Khan Zaman, being the intelligent general that he is, starts feeling suspicious about things. As the unsuspecting army of Khan Zaman is going back, they are in a very lethargic mood because the mission is accomplished. Suddenly from nowhere, this army is attacked by another army of the Nizamshahi. The Nizamshahi had done this entire game just to trap the army of Khan Zaman within this fort area of Bid, so that when they are unsuspecting, they will attack them and kill Khan Zaman with this surprise move. And this army of Nizamshahi, which attacks Khan Zaman's army, is led by Shahji Raje Bhosle.